Did Jay Cutler just confirm that Phil Heath is making a comeback to the bodybuilding stage? All that plus much more. What's up, desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back for another bodybuilding news video. And let's get straight into this one with an update from John Jewett. But not only that, he's making the move from 212 to open. He posted up this with that as well, and I'll read a little bit of that. And says, at Legion Sports Fest, open debut 2023. I really had to think on this if it was the right call. The ultimate goal was to bring my best to the stage and also make the largest impact in physique education. Pulling down to 212 I feel does hurt my look. Then he goes on to say, Legion is a good timeline for me as it's 4 weeks prior to the Olympia and will serve as a deload diet break, which should not take away from the O prep. So super exciting. So here it says 10 weeks out of my open debut, and I'm on fire to do this show, sitting at 225 pounds. And as you can see, it's pretty decent shape for 225 pounds. John actually just won the Atlanta Pro, where he looked sensational in that contest as well. And imagine this with a few extra pounds on the top of it. I mean, maybe an extra 5-10 pounds. He's going to look absolutely sensational. And then he's going to pull it down for that 212 Olympia, where I think he's going to be one of the front runners now. He's placed well in the 212 Olympia before, a couple of years ago. I think he's going to bring his best this year, and he could be battling for that title potentially. So very exciting for John Jewett. And let me know what you think in the comments. Is it a good move for John Jewett to make that move from the 212 to open? And maybe he's one of these guys that competes in both, but if he does well in the open, maybe he'll just make that move to open from now on if it doesn't look like he can actually win the 212 Olympia. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Now in our next story, we've got Larry Wheels, and you don't like to see these sorts of stories when you see a photo of a bodybuilder, or anyone for that matter, in hospital. And he posted up the caption, I effed around and got Rhabdo, lightheaded AF. So not good news there for Larry Wheels. I actually saw Dave Palumbo put up a video and said that he doesn't actually believe that Larry Wheels has true Rhabdo, because a lot of bodybuilders get misdiagnosed due to, our training and then, our kidney levels and all that sort of stuff being sort of misrepresented because of the hard physical training. And maybe he's just overtraining a little bit and obviously not feeling good from that. And it's sort of diagnosed as true Rhabdo when it's not necessarily true Rhabdo. But it might be a good indication that Larry Wheels needs to take a bit of a break and take some time off. Now, I saw this comment, which I thought sort of summed up Rhabdo pretty well, by freaking Regan 45, and says, for those that don't know what he's talking about, it's rhabdomyolysis. It's a serious medical condition where damaged skeletal muscle tissue releases its contents into the bloodstream. This can lead to a release of substances like myoglobin, creatine kinase, and electrolytes, which can overwhelm the kidneys and cause kidney damage or failure. Common causes include muscle injury, severe exertion, certain medications, infections, and genetic factors. It requires prompt medical attention and treatment. So a pretty good summary there. I hope that Larry Wheels doesn't have true Rhabdo and he's able to make a full recovery and get back into the gym as soon as possible. But shout out to Larry Wheels, and hope you're doing well. Our next update comes from Ramon Dino, who is looking enormous right now. He's looking bigger than he's ever looked before. I mean, when you look at him, just standing there, hitting these shots, hitting his side chest against who knows who that is, he looks enormous. Upper body wise, he looks like an open pro bodybuilder. Like legitimately, if you said he was making his move into the open class, I would believe it based on these updates, because he's shredded right now. Look at the shoulders. There is legitimate grainy lines through those shoulders, which sometimes you don't see from pro bodybuilders on stage. Actually, regularly, you don't see from open pro bodybuilders on stage. So he's in great condition, 14 weeks out from the Olympia. And I think he's in such good condition because he has to be right now. His body wants to grow. It's going to be hard for him to make it down to classic. And you see the side leg and you go, oh, we could have a bit more mass to that hamstring, but really he can't if he's going to try to make classic, because you got to distribute that muscle how you think it will look best on the physique. And if he adds a whole bunch of hamstring, that's going to add a lot of weight to his weight cap, and he's sort of maxing it out already anyway. He's obviously the Arnold Classic physique champion from earlier this year, beat out Uruz Kalachinski. He's going to be, I suppose, the one to battle with C-Bum at the Olympia, but I just don't know if he can actually make that leap to beating Chris Bumstead. The fact that his posing isn't quite to where it needs to be, in my opinion, and also that he's also maxing out that weight limit. I think C-Bum might even have a couple of pounds to play with. It's going to be very hard unless we get an off-C bum or we get a C bum with some of those injuries. Maybe it show up a bit more in his physique, become a bit more evident, and they wear down like the quad or the bicep or something like that. That's the only way I can see Ramon Dino winning the Classic Physique Olympia. Is there a chance? Of course there is. There's always a chance for it, but I would love to see Ramon maybe after this Olympia to make the move to open bodybuilding. I think most people would love to see it, and I think that that's definitely on the cards for him. Now to another Brazilian in Rafael Brandao. He made the move from Chris Aceto, who actually Ramon is actually with right now, I believe, in terms of his coach. He made the move from Chris Aceto to Neil Hill, who was obviously Flex Lewis's coach previously, and he is looking enormous in his recent physique updates. I'm actually sort of shocked by how big he looks right here, and he's actually sitting out the rest of 2023, and he's going to make a return in 2024. And you got to remember, this guy last year came 10th at the Olympia. So if he makes that leap from 10th and puts on 5, maybe an ambitious 10 pounds of muscle, comes in the same condition, comes in the same lines, doesn't blow out anything on his physique, which it looks like he's not, I really wonder where Rafael Brandao can sort of place at the Olympia next year. Let me know your thoughts in the description below, but I'm very impressed by the size it looks like Rafael Brandao has put on. And you can see here the 2022 Olympia, a photo from there, and a photo from his most recent physique update. And the gains are pretty incredible. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now to another man who was previously with Chris Aceto and is making the move to work with Neil Hill as well, and that's Sergio Oliva Jr. This was posted up by Neil Hill and says, "I'm proud to announce new Y3T athlete Sergio Oliva Jr. into the team. Time to focus our energy into positive steps moving forward. This is going to be an exciting new chapter for Sergio Jr. and myself as we start our journey as an athlete and coach together." And Sergio Oliva Jr. says, "Excited to learn and be molded." So obviously Rafael Brandao in the comments there as well says, "Welcome Sergio Oliva Jr." So Sergio was actually working with Chris Aceto for 10 years. So he's been with him his whole pro career, and says, "Want to thank Chris Acetate Aceto," which is obviously some sort of private joke we got between each other. Says, "For the almost 10 years of not only coaching but mentoring, no one would even know who I was if it wasn't for him." And then goes on to talk about a few things there. So it sounds like they've got a great relationship, and hopefully they maintain that relationship as well, because Chris Aceto seems like a great guy and a great coach, and Sergio, has a lot to be thankful for Chris Aceto for. And you can see Samir Banu as well says, "Chris is 1,000,000 times better and safer than the rest of coaches in the jungle. Has always cautious with good intentions. 0% blood on his hands." So a big endorsement there from former Mr. Olympia Samir Banu. Now, a guy who also used to work with Chris Aceto as well, and now is working with Mila Sarchev, and that's Regan Grimes, posted up this today where he's looking considerably bigger. Now, is it just going to be IG gains, or is this going to convert to the stage? Now, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments below. But from these recent updates, he's looking pretty damn impressive. It looks like there's another level of thickness on Regan Grimes, and if he can bring this to the stage, it's going to be very, very impressive. And I actually had someone on IG send me these comparisons from Regan's 2021 prep for the Olympia compared to the recent updates, and they're posted actually from the same lighting in the same gym as well. I believe it's Pure Muscle and Fitness. You can see the 2023 version on the left and 2021 version on the right. So those who are saying that Regan's making no improvements, I think Regan's starting to shut those people up, because it looks like he's got a thicker chest, the arms look bigger, it looks like he's just making overall improvements to his physique. So very, very impressed with these recent updates from Regan Grimes. And also, this guy actually sent me through a photo of Regan and Nick Walker together as well, which I found incredibly interesting, because obviously Nick Walker said that Regan should stick to the IG stuff, or he thinks that Regan should stick to the IG stuff. So I think Regan has probably used that as a little bit of motivation, and I would love to see these guys standing side by side on stage. Now, we know Regan is not at Nick Walker's level as yet, but I would love to see Regan really stick at it, smash it out, have a couple of really good consistent years, and hopefully reach those levels of potentially reaching his potential and being a top 5 or top 10 Mr. Olympia competitor. But let me know what you think in the comments. Can Regan reach those levels? Will he reach those levels? And how much would you love to see Regan and Nick Walker side by side on stage? Now to our next update, and this is from HorseMD, who's making his move from Classic Physique to Open. Even though he didn't compete in Classic Physique, he had the intention to. He was too heavy. I don't know if he got sick or injured or what happened there. Now looking back at it, I believe last year that all happened. And he's looking enormous. It looks like HorseMD is making the necessary gains. We know he looks fantastic on stage. And we know he's competing this year in the Open as well, at least according to his IG. But he hasn't revealed which contest that's going to be yet. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later, and I cannot wait to see this pro debut from HorseMD, because we never got to see him actually on a pro stage, even though we're saying he's making the move from Classic to Open. He never actually competed in Classic, so he turned pro as an Open bodybuilder, and he's making that move into the Open pro bodybuilding. So cannot wait to see, and let me know what you think in the comments how he'll do in that one. And let's get on to our last story. Has Jay Cutler confirmed that Phil Heath is making his comeback? So I heard this on the latest episode of the Cutler Cast with manager Matt, Jay Cutler, and Milos Sarcev. And you guys can let me know what you think in the comments below on this.
When you stand next to Phil Heath, you want to see how big you look next to his arms. So if you're a pro bodybuilder, you shouldn't be completely covered.
Can't wait for this comeback because he's thinking about this.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So Jay points at Milos Sarcev there and he says, I can't wait for this comeback, because he's thinking about it, right? And I don't know if this is from when Jay actually interviewed Phil Heath back when he was on Cutler Cast, which was around last year's Mr. Olympia, when Phil said, I'll give it 3 months of training and, see how I look. And that sort of, you could tell Phil was thinking more about the comeback to what Jay and manager Matt was actually thinking he actually potentially could come back in that interview when you actually listen back to it. But everything that Phil said, I did that video the other day where Phil actually speaks on coming back and potentially coming back not to the Mr. Olympia stage. I'll put the link to that one in the description below, where Phil Heath speaks openly and honestly on his IG live. But I'm starting to think more and more that we're going to see a comeback from Phil Heath, maybe at next year's Arnold Classic, but maybe a little bit later than that. But I can definitely see it happening where Phil jumps in some sort of non-Mr. Olympia show to test out the waters. I would love to see him win it and then move into either a Mr. Olympia or an Arnold Classic. I would absolutely love to see it. But let me know what you think in the comments. Will Phil Heath make a comeback to the bodybuilding stage, and will we ever see him back on a Mr. Olympia stage as well? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. So for Xavier Wills, this is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.